Yo, Liverpool have just beaten newly promoted Ipswich 2-0 in their first game of the 24-25 Premier League season, and in this video I'm going to explain why Liverpool were much better in the second half, why taking Jarell Quansah off at half-time was the right call, and why Ryan Gravenberch could be the player to solve Liverpool's biggest issue. Liverpool struggled in the first half right from the kickoff. They found it difficult to play through Ipswich's press, their passing was sloppy and they couldn't match the opposition's energy levels. But the best way to understand why they struggled in the first half is to start by discussing why they excelled in the second half. So what changed in the second half? Well, the first thing was that Ipswich's aggressive man-to-man press started to drop off, and ARNE made some subtle but hugely important tactical tweaks to his side at half-time, in addition to bringing on Ibrahim Konate for Jarell Quansah, which made sense, and I'll explain why later in this video. When you're struggling against a team that's pressing man-to-man, you need to bring your wide players deeper and more inside so that the fullbacks have more passing options, and we saw Luis Diaz and Mohamed Salah coming off the line a lot more in the second half for this very reason. This means that your midfield don't have to spread out as much to provide passing options. They can remain more compact and more central. This creates really good conditions for utilising third man runs and for snuffing out danger effectively when the ball is turned over. And some of Liverpool's best passages of play in the second half came from Szoboszlai and McAllister making sharp off the ball runs to receive the ball. The Liverpool midfield was less static and more purposeful with their movement in the second half. Ipswich's press, to their credit, was really well organised. Even when Liverpool did progress the ball, Ipswich put a lot of pressure on the ball side and then went man-to-man in midfield. Liverpool adapted to this in the second half by resorting to switching the play a lot more into wide areas where the space was there for them to attack. We saw Trent, Szoboszlai and Van Dijk in particular playing searching balls across the pitch in the second half, as opposed to the short, sharp, vertical passing that you would normally associate with an ARNE side. The half-time substitution of Konate for Quansah also really helped Liverpool. The biggest reason for this change, I think, was pace. We saw Liam Delap ease past Quansah in the first half, and when you're spending a lot of the game defending with essentially a two-man defence, you really do need pace in your backline. This is more important on Trent's side, as he does have more of a licence to roam forward as opposed to Robertson on the other side. So the right centre-back really needs to have good recovery pace and also be comfortable defending in wide areas. Also, Quansah, although he wasn't the only one, was sloppy in possession in the first 45 minutes. Just like ARNE Slot's centre-backs did at Feyenoord, Konate also stepped out with the ball when the space was there for him to do so, and he even made the odd third-man run himself to help draw players away from Liverpool's midfielders. I saw a lot of calls for Gravenberch to be taken off at half-time and be replaced by Endo or Elliott, and I was genuinely wondering if these people were watching the same game as me. In my opinion, Ryan Gravenberch was the best player on the field today. Even in the first half, his defensive positioning was excellent and he had a much bigger influence on the game than either Szoboszlai or McAllister. He made some nice tackles as well that were earnestly given as fouls by the referee. In the second half though, he was absolutely brilliant. If Zubimendi had a sign for Liverpool and put in that performance, we'd all be raving about him. Gravenberch is so graceful on the ball, he's got great ball carrying ability, he's got excellent pass selection, and he showed a lot of intelligence of knowing when to speed up the game and when to slow things down. He's going to have a lot tougher tests than Ipswich, that's for sure, but hopefully he can really kick on after that performance. Speaking of individual performances, I thought Andy Robertson struggled, and I do wonder if he's ran his race as a Liverpool player. He's certainly not the player he was. Alexis McAllister struggled to influence the game, but I have no doubts about what he can bring to this side. Luis Diaz was Luis Diaz, sensational until his final action, and Mohamed Salah was Mohamed Salah, an absolute killer. I spent a lot of last season defending him against the nonsensical "he's washed" claims. He has so much more to give, and don't be surprised if he finishes the season with the most assists in the Premier League. I think that's all I wanted to say about today's game. If you're looking for player ratings or description of the goals, pretty much every other Liverpool related channel will have what you're looking for. I'm more interested in discussing the game from a tactical and a more holistic perspective. To summarise, the key takeaways from today's game for me, once again, were ARNE Slot's tactical astuteness and flexibility, Ryan Gravenberch's accomplished performance, and reassurance for those who need it that Mohamed Salah is still one of the most potent attackers in world football. Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you agree or disagree with what I've said? What did you make of the performance today? And which players do you think stood out? Lastly, please give the video a like and subscribe for more football related content just like this, and thank you so much for watching.